What up, good people? Back with today's reflection. Today's reflection, I want to talk about the importance of spending time with God. Um, Normally, we think the only time we can spend time with God is in God-like settings, right? Like church, amongst friends and family that are religious or Christ-like, or when we praying at night. Um, but that's easy. It's easy to spend time with God when God is in the setting. You know what I mean? But God wants to spend time with us all the time. We think about the people that you love the most. When your phone ring and you see that name on there or that picture on there of the person that you love the most, you can't wait to pick the phone up and talk to that person. And if you haven't heard from certain people that you haven't heard, that you love, that you haven't heard from in a long time, you excited to hear their voice again. You excited to talk to them and spend some time with them when you see them face to face. And think about times when, like, you may haven't heard from somebody in a couple weeks, but then you hear that somebody else that have heard from them, in the last day or so. That makes you feel a kind of way. You feel a little bit of slighted. And so that's how God feels about us. When we spend so much time with other things that really ain't doing us no good, you know what I mean? They may feel good to the flesh. They may feel good to the carnal, the human. But as far as our spirit, it's not doing anything to feed our spirit, and it's definitely not keeping us in connection with our Father. And so, just like we want to hear that voice from the people that we love, God wants to hear our voice too. He wants to talk to us, not just when we on our knees begging and pleading for things we need or things we want. God wants to hear our voice about how our day was. God wants to hear. He wants us to come to Him and ask Him what this decisions that we should make. Should we take this job? Should we start this business? Should we apply for this loan? Should we go to school or should we go to trade school? Like, God wants to hear our voice in all aspects of our lives. And so we got to stop just thinking about we only can come to God when we need something or when we want something. But we got to come to God and talk to Him. I could be driving down the street. That's the time to talk to God. You could be at work in the heat of a busy day. That's the time to talk to God. Anytime that you have a moment to spare, it's the time to talk to God. It don't always have to be, in your prayer closet. It don't always have to be at church, and it don't always have to be on your knees. Talk to God for as much as possible, and as heavy and as often as possible.